All right, let's get into the 2024 Geekies. We're going to be talking about the best of the year, and we're going to start right off with Best Show. So the 4 nominations, and anybody who's able to, add their own and stuff like that, we'll mention them. But the 4 nominees we have are Shogun, The Penguin, Agatha All Along, and House of the Dragon. Aaron, what was your favorite of this year?
My favorite of this year from that list is definitely House of the Dragon. It's that grand scale epic back in the land of Westeros. Really compelling characters there for season 2. Loved seeing, Damon back going crazy in Harrenhal. It was really epic to see all those dragons fully rendered on CGI. Loved seeing the new Dragon Riders. Even did an episode on Fandom Portal's podcast. That's my vote for Best in Show. Absolutely loved it. You can't pass up a good dragon on your telly.
No, for sure. Jonathan, what about you? What was your show of the year?
As much as I love the House of the Dragon, the end of the season left me so disappointed where we didn't see the big battle. So I think my favorite would be, at least out of this list, is the Penguin. But my honorable mention is going to be Silo, because that season 2, such a good show. It's still airing right now, but
on Apple TV. I know that seems to be a hidden gem. People don't remember Silo. That just got renewed for 2 more seasons, by the way, and season 4 is going to be the finale.
Oh, so I love it.
Yeah. Over on our Discord, guys, Joe in our Discord, Kyle says that his show of the year was The Penguin, with runner-up being Shogun. And then Scott says also Penguin. Penguin was definitely a big hit. Mine was Agatha All Along, mostly because it surprised the heck out of me. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was going to be, whatever, sure, Agatha, let's give her a show. Man, I was enjoying every week of it. And again, the social media people hanging out and chatting about it, that was a blast. But when we had you guys vote for it, you guys said The Penguin by 40%. And then Agatha Along was right behind it, then Shogun and House of the Dragon. And I can't say anything bad about it. I think that's all really good rankings. Some of the other ones was The Sympathizer, and yeah, it looks like The Sympathizer was another suggestion somebody had. But some really good hits right there. Next on the list, let's go for Best Movie. We had some really good ones. We have Deadpool and Wolverine, Wicked, Dune Part 2, and Challengers. Jonathan,
Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
And Gladiator 2, honorable mention at least.
You're missing 2, yeah. Gladiator 2 and Furiosa came out this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was, I think it was back in May.
You could pick those as well. You don't have to pick one of those 4, but those are the 4 nominees that we had for voting.
Yeah, I think since I know Aaron's going to go ahead and pick Gladiator 2, I'll throw Furiosa as my my number 1. I mean, Dune Part 2 I think would be up there also. I really liked it, but Furiosa's got to make the list.
I actually just watched Furiosa again. I threw it on. I was like, yeah, I haven't seen this before. And I love Dementis so much. Such a great villain. Yeah. And so I just threw it on again. I was like, this is going to be one of those movies like Fury Road, like all Mad Maxes actually, where I just like throw it on and I just enjoy it.
Let's go, yes.
How big was Furiosa in Australia? I know Mad Max is big down there. Was Furiosa a hit?
No, it was pretty big. I think like Fury Road just took everybody by storm, and the buzz that it got around the Oscars, it won so much more than everybody was expecting, and it has been like paramount to Australian cinema, and the evolution of it. It's basically shown like what we can do down here as part of our little version of Hollywood. We can make blockbusters that can compete, and making villains and characters that are entertaining, like Furiosa herself, Mad Max, and Dementis. It was, I went and saw it in cinemas in Brisbane. I actually went on a holiday and went with my brother to see it. It was a good one. I loved it. So
yeah,
second favorite movie of the year, that one.
That's one of those movies I kept telling people, you got to see it in theaters, because the engines with those speakers that they have in theaters, like the way it rumbled, everything's like, you got to experience that in a theater. That's the only way to experience that thing.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's exactly it. And all of the different sort of colorations and the palette that the director uses for it is just so good to see on such a big screen. It was really good.
Yeah, in watching it again just a couple days ago, 2 days ago, I liked how Dementis goes from like this white cloak to he gets hit with the red. Then by the end, it's so dingy and it's black. It's like, oh man, you really see the evolution of that character through this movie.
Yep.
And like, it's rare that you see a villain start at their peak and then slowly collapse as the movie goes on. And it's like, that's just such a good storytelling. George Miller, like what?
Yeah, George Miller,
genius. He's so good.
Yeah.
For me, I'll go and throw mine in. I went Dune Part 2. It blew me away visually. Spectacular. I think it's the best version of telling the story there is. And the debates we had afterwards. I mean, me and Thomas went back and forth quite a bit over like, you're not supposed to like Paul Atreides. He's the bad guy in a lot of ways, but we've been rooting for him, so it feels bad that happens. And I like any movie that kind of creates that kind of conversation and just is visually, it's beautiful. And even the TV show's starting to grow on me. We've got one more episode of that. Looking at our Discord, Kyle says he liked Deadpool and Wolverine the best, and then Wicked is his second favorite. And then, for Scott, it's Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Furiosa is his second. And then we head to the polls. Real quick on the polls, Deadpool and Wolverine was number 1, and then Dune Part 2 right after that.
I think Deadpool and Wolverine is definitely culturally the biggest hit of the year. It's grossed over $1 billion. And just that press tour between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds that was just, everybody was watching that as well. Every interview they did with every sort of company that went to interview him, everybody was just captivated for a good couple of months from Deadpool and Wolverine fever.
There's this thing too. I think we're definitely seeing it with James Gunn, where they bring in the director as part of the press tour more so than just like before. It was just the main actor. Now we're seeing like these ensemble interviews. We're seeing the director being a part of the conversation, and it's interesting. It's giving more credit to the entire creative team. I personally am more excited to see a movie in theaters if it's directed by the person I like than if it has an actor that I like. And I don't think that was how it was, 15, 20 years ago. Something new coming up.
Yeah, that's good.
Heading back to the Geekies, we have Best Game of the Year. Our nominees are Black Myth Wukong, Marvel Rivals, Astrobot, and Helldivers 2. This one had a lot of discourse over why is this one not on the list? Why is that one not on the list? Again, you can put anything you want on this list. Aaron, what is your Game of the Year?
Game of the year for me goes to Marvel Rivals. I have loved playing that. It's gotten me back into gaming with my brothers. And, I've just loved being a Rocket Raccoon backpack and healing up my team and doing as little damage as possible, but definitely healing all the way. And second to that is, Larry the Land Shark. He's also good. Loved him.
I'm all about that Land Shark, man. That's definitely my main. Jonathan, what about you? What is your Game of the Year?
So unfortunately, I haven't played any of those, though I do plan on playing Marvel Rivals once I upgrade my computer. I have a pile of parts here I still haven't put in. I promise I'm going to do it this weekend. My computer's struggling just to do this right now. It's way outdated. Only thing that I can say that I've played that actually was released this year is Satisfactory, which is the reason I'm upgrading my computer, because that was such a good game in beta and everything. So the full version's out now, but my poor computer can't handle it. So that's going to be my pick of the year, but mainly because I haven't played the games that everyone else is suggesting.
Special shout out to Satisfactory. Yeah, it did hit full release. It's weird because it deserves to be considered one of the Game of the Years. Yeah, but also I've been playing it for like 2 or 3 years now, so it's a little bit tricky the way that works. Yeah. That is a spectacular game, and it's in full release, and I can't wait to see what's coming out of Coffee Stain next. That studio is one of those studios that all right, I'll go to. It's like saying that director thing too. It's like whatever director comes, same thing with that studio. If that studio comes out with something, I'm going to check it out for sure. Yeah. Then for the ones that we have nominated, I'm going to be going with Marvel Rivals myself. While I was playing a lot of Dragon Age. I'm still playing a lot of Dragon Age. And we're not doing any expansions, but World of Warcraft's expansion, this latest one, The War Within, is very good. But I think Marvel Rivals, the fact that everybody's kind of coming together to play it together, it's same thing with Helldivers 2 for a lot of people. It's fun. That's part of the community building. And then going over to our Discord, Helldivers 2 for Scott, and then Power World is a runner-up. I know he's a big he's a big fan of Power World. And Kyle says Balatro, which is a card-based game. It got nominee for the Game of the Year Game Awards. Have you guys played Balatro at all? This card game?
No,
I've never played Balatro.
Yeah, it's like out of nowhere, and because it got nominated, people started playing it, and everybody's like, it's crazy addictive. It's super good, and when you look at it, you're like, why would you spend $1 on that game? It looks so cheap, but it's a huge hit. So I got to try that out. He says that's his Game of the Year, which is impressive. And then runner up for him is Silent Hill 2. When we head to the polls, the winner, it was tight in the beginning, but it became overwhelming. Astrobot won first place. A PS5 exclusive won first place over. Many of these games are available on every system. So that was impressive. That means it's really good. Astrobot wins Game of the Year. For the rest of these, we do not have the polls to go off of, so it's just based off our discussion. And we're going to go right into the best animated show of the year. We have Creature Commandos, Arcane, X-Men 97, or Has Been Hotel. Jonathan, what's pulling ahead for you?
Yeah, so I like Arcane. I like the animation style and the writing and story and stuff. Though I haven't finished the season, I haven't all of what's released. So I think my favorite though out of the list is going to be Creature Commandos. It's off to a great start. I mean, it's only a few episodes out already, but that's really fun. Like you've mentioned before, it feels a lot like Archer, Venture Brothers has all the same elements and just a fun world they built.
That last episode with G.I. Robot being the focus was cinema. That was so good. Aaron, what are you thinking? Best animated show?
I'm thinking this category is tough because the animation genre is a favorite of mine. And I know favorite of yours as well, Frank. And the titles that you've got in here are all amazing in their own way. Like Has Been Hotel, the music in that is so unique and catchy to the point where so many people are just having it on their Spotify Wrapped. A bunch of my friends do. Arcane, as you said, really pulls on the heartstrings, and Creature Commandos is getting some really big buzz. But the one for me is definitely going to be X-Men 97. Been an X-Men fan for ages and ages and ages. And it's just that throwback to when you were a kid watching your cereal and you put on the TV and you've got your X-Men cartoon jumping on there, Wolverine. They're all voiced by the same people as well. It's got that nostalgia hit. Yeah. And then, every episode was a banger. And there's something about a season when it hits episode 5. We all know what happened in episode 5 on X-Men 97. For those that don't, go and watch X-Men 97 episode 5. Absolutely amazing episode of TV story-wise. And just for that, and from that point on, it was like into the finale, and it had all your favorite characters, all your favorite villains, a great story that just culminates into the finale, and it was just, it kept me captivated. And it even got my my partner, my missus, into watching comic book cartoon shows. So that's a win for me, and you can't beat that. So
if she likes the Batman Caped Crusader came out this year too, is very good. It's just with this list, it's hard to fit it on there, of course.
That's true as well. Another banger, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be the tiebreaker on this. I'm going to go X-Men 97. Yes, that episode 5 is one of the best episodes of television. And the fact that they were able to take not only the nostalgia from the early 90s, bring it forward and it feel relevant to today, but also incorporate some very big comic book stories and make them feel punchy and quick. And we'll have just one episode go through major storylines, but it feels, correct. It's not like it's rushed. It was amazing that they were able to handle that. And the cast, of course, is outstanding. X-Men 97 for sure for me. And then, so we're going to make that the winner for best animated show of the year for the Geekies. Heading over to our Discord, I'm seeing Kyle is putting forward X-Men 97 and Creature Commandos. And then Scott's got over here, what's he got? Arcane and Has Been Hotel. Has Been Hotel, God, that's a good show too. If you guys like Has Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss is on YouTube, and it's the spinoff of that. So you guys can check that out too. All right, the category that has started it all. This is the category we've been doing since the first year of the Geekies, back when it was called the Better Oscars, and is a fan favorite. So the best villain of the year: Dementus from Furiosa, Marcrinus. There we go. From Gladiator 2, Fade Rotha from Dune Part 2, and Anxiety from Inside Out. What do you think, Aaron?
I'm going to perform a bit of a nerdy faux pas here and say I haven't actually seen Dune Part 2, so it's on my list. I know. Wow. I heard it was one that
Christmas vacation task is to watch that.
That's my homework. Yep, definitely. Yeah, I just feel like, I've got 2 kids, and you really need like 2.5 hours or however long it goes for to really just sit and immerse. I just haven't had it. Yeah. But I did go and take my dad to see Gladiator 2. That was my favorite movie of the year. Probably because, it's a good connecting point with me and my dad, but also like Macrinus, the villain played by Denzel Washington, stole the absolute show. I'm pretty sure he's nominated for a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for that role. Would not be surprised if he won it. The story literally rises and falls with him. And I know there's a lot of people that kind of say the movie wasn't so good because they didn't really follow or believe in Paul Mescal's representation of Maximus's son. Spoiler alert. Sorry, people. But but with Denzel Washington, if you follow him and his character arc, and you look at the city of Rome as the character, and even looking at the city of Rome as the villain, it's created these vigilante like heroes, or these vengeful like heroes like Macrinus and also Maximus. And I even put a post on my Instagram that said Maximus and Macrinus have some very similar sort of qualities in terms of the way that they deal with being downtrodden by the city of Rome. Macrinus has gone through that cunning and political kind of vibe, whereas Maximus used the tools that he was dealt in life, and he had that soldier background, and he went to the Colosseum and just won the hearts and minds of the city in that way. But Macrinus, his mind, the way he manipulated the two emperors of Rome, and then just he took those opportunities and struck, and it felt like in the very last half an hour of the movie, he just hit his stride, took every opportunity that came, killed the people that needed to be killed, and he found himself on top after he was a slave to begin with. Great story, great arc. Macrinus gets my vote. Villain of the year.
That's a really good defense of him. I'm gonna go. I mean, he was amazing, right? At the moment that he made the turn and he was like dividing the emperors and stuff like that, you were like, holy cow! I knew something was building up.
Oh yeah.
But even I was getting played by him, like the characters in the movie, and I think that kind of shows Denzel Washington is a beast.
Yeah.
Just put him in front of the camera. I'm going to it.
Yep.
That's tough to not root for him. I'm gonna have to go with Dementis though, because I thought when they casted Chris Hemsworth,
yeah.
thank you, for Furiosa, I was like, cool, Thor. I'll watch Thor. I'm cool with Thor. He actually embodied an entirely different character that, in a way that I did not see Hemsworth being able to do. Shame on me, but I just didn't see Hemsworth as like that kind of actor. I thought he was just he's an action star. That's cool. No, he actually portrayed a whole new character. He created a new persona, and you love him, you hate him, you watch him collapse, and it's like when you're starting to corner a wild animal, he's getting more and more dangerous as he's losing power, and by the end, he's finished off in the most gruesome way possible and living a life under a tree. I mean, it's such a great way to finish that character off. Someone who was leading, very much his entire race of people were very gladiator built and stuff like that. And he was in front the whole time. It was wonderful movie. And I just think the way he performed it was so amazing. It really blew me away that Hemsworth was able to do that kind of acting. So I'm going to go with Dementis.
Nice.
Jonathan.
All right, before I get to mine, I have two honorable mentions that didn't make your list. So, Homelander from The Boys. I know it's season 4 that just came out. Yeah, so season 4, He's been around for a while. But he's a great character. You just love to hate. He's psychotic and has a limitless power. And then I know it didn't get as much attention as I've put to it recently because I just started watching it, is Silo. Bernard Holland, played by Tim Robbins. He is this like mastermind that's running the whole silo, and it's all through like political, kind of like in Gladiator. It's all this guy who's just kind of walking the political line, and hey, I'm trying to just do what's best for the people. This is what the people wanted, what they voted for, and stuff. And but really, he's manipulating everybody. So
I love
great
Tim
character,
Robbins, man.
yeah. And you said that you mentioned him the other day, and I was like, you got that wrong. That's the public speaker guy, motivational speaker. No, that's Tony Robbins. So I was thinking, it's like, no, wrong one. Totally mixed up. But my vote for the year is gonna be Oswald Cobb, who played the Penguin, who was acted by, his name, Frank.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, there you go.
Colin Farrell.
God. And what you cannot,
he disappears into that role. It's hard to say Colin Farrell.
There's no way you can tell that's him. It was just such an amazing performance and such a great character because he's the villain. And I love in this story, we're following the villain and you're rooting for him because you see where he's coming from and you understand his perspective of why he does bad things. But in the end, it's like, well, yeah, he's still murdering people. Just from his perspective, it's for, good cause. Until the end of the season, then you're like, no, you're just a douchebag. But yeah, such a good character, such a good show. So
I've said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that we're rooting for him the whole time and we almost forget that he's the Penguin.
Yeah.
And then at the end when he does that to Vic, and you're just like, I want Batman to come in and put a foot in your mouth. I want him to come kick your ass. And luckily we do get that bastion at the end that's like, oh, that's right, we're in Gotham. Like hope. It almost kind of wakes you back up to like, that's Penguin. I keep forgetting that. Well said, John. Well said.
Yeah.
So we have a three-way tie. We can't pick a winner unless we have our Discord tiebreaker. Here we go. On Discord, Scott and Kyle both agree Penguin is the best villain.
Ooh, good.
Well
So
done.
that's our villain of the year, and I can't hate it. And we're going into heroes next, and I want to give a shout out to Kyle who made a very good point. Best hero of the year, Penguin as well. So that was pretty
Interesting
way to
Clean
look at it.
sweep for
I like
Oz
that.
Cobb.
Yeah. All right, so let's go for best hero. Our nominees are Huey from The Boys, Gambit from X-Men 97. Now, that was tempting to go Gambit from Deadpool and Wolverine, but episode 5 really made sure it was 97. Deadpool from Deadpool and Wolverine, and Lilia from Agatha All Along. I'll start us off on this one. Agatha All Along was a surprise hit, but nothing has brought out the emotions more than her victorious episode 7 when she did the tower reversed move and just totally made such a well-defined character. I keep comparing it to a Star Trek level character, something that makes me continuously think about what that ramifications of what that character in the MCU is and how she can impact things in the future, how she has impacted things in the past. Lilia really blew me away, and I think she is the hero, the most unassuming hero in the show. When you're watching it, you're like, the older lady, what's she going to do? She dominated. I'm going to give it to Lilia myself. Jonathan, let's go with you next. Best hero of the year.
So I hate to keep just going off of the cuff, but mine isn't anyone on your list because it was really hard for me to even pick any heroes, and I didn't watch X-Men 97, so I hate to say it. I'm sure that's a major. Yeah,
That's
I watched
insane.
I saw the first two. I think I saw the first 2 episodes, but
Get to episode 5. That's the one.
I know. So I would probably, I do like Gambit, the character, so I probably would put him on my list if I watched it. Anyways, long story short, my hero of the year is going to be Uncle Iroh, played by Paul Sung-Hung Lee in the live-action Avatar series.
Fair.
The character is already an amazingly written character, and then Paul Sung-Hung Lee is such an awesome actor. He's one of my favorite, newer actors. So I love to watch anything he's in, but especially putting the two together is a perfect combination.
It's crazy how good this year was for TV that I keep forgetting about Avatar: The Last Airbender, a show I thought could never be put into a live action correctly after what that bastard M. Night Shyamalan did. And so, I keep forgetting about it, but you're right. Paul Sung-Hung Lee was perfectly cast for that.
And I would have put it as show of the year if it had its own new authentic story, but this was a story that was already told being retold, so that's fair enough not to fight for that one. But his portrayal was pretty awesome too. And he's a hero, even if we don't see his full arc yet in the show. We all know he's a hero.
Yeah.
He's the wisest man on TV.
Yeah. What do you got for your pick, Aaron?
All right, so for me, tricky again. Love Gambit's sacrifice in X-Men 97, and I think his actions of heroism definitely put him as a spot there. I'm gonna have to go with Deadpool though, just for the growth across the trilogy, I'll say. And I saw in an interview with Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and Sean Levy, where they're talking about the fact that in this movie there was the directorial chairs, and everybody saw that on Ryan Reynolds it said Wade Wilson, and everybody was wondering why it didn't say Deadpool. And Ryan Reynolds said, in this movie he shows a lot more heart, and it feels like he's sort of dropped the mask of Deadpool. He's becoming more like Wade Wilson, and that theme throughout the whole movie of him wanting to matter. He's turned into from that anti-hero that doesn't even want to be a part of the X-Men to now in number 3, he's wanting to have that found family. He's got that group of people. That's that kind of growth that you love to see your characters and your heroes have. And, the stakes in this movie were absolutely high, but, to him, it was just all about getting his people back together. And, at the heart of every hero, they're always fighting for somebody that they love. And that for me is the hero of the year. Goes to Deadpool, and also to Ryan Reynolds for making 3 amazing Deadpool movies. Shout out to him as well. Great hero.
Welcome to Wrexham as well, guys. If you haven't watched Welcome to Wrexham yet, I'm tired of suggesting it to Jonathan, but I'll suggest to other people as well. Check that out as well. Well, guys, we have a 3-way tie, and I really have to stick with Lily on mine, so we'll have to go to the backups over here. And both Scott and Kyle, their runner-up hero of the year is Deadpool, so that puts Deadpool at number 1 as our hero of the year. And I think, honestly, I wouldn't necessarily be happy with that if it wasn't for how Aaron just described it. I think that was a really good job of pitching him for hero of the year, better than just the guy who's doing a lot of fun jokes. So,
yeah,
well said. All right, this is the grand finale, guys. We're looking for the Geek of the Year, and we, as mentioned a couple months ago by Jonathan, who brought it up with this great idea, will be sending a plaque to this person. I will be making and sending an actual plaque to this person, the Geek Freaks Geek of the Year. So our 4 nominees, we have James Gunn, and I'll do a little bio of who they are, just so if you guys don't know who James Gunn is. James Gunn, as the co-CEO of the DC Studios, James Gunn has revitalized the DC universe with clear vision and a slate of projects blending the fan service and creative storytelling. His ability to balance creative risks and audience expectations has redefined superhero media in 2024. Next, we have Sam Reich, the CEO of Dropout and the mind behind college humor's renaissance. Sam Reich has redefined digital comedy and storytelling in 2024 with the widely popular Game Changer and Dimension 20, expanding how geek culture intersects with humor and gaming. Abay Alanos, a Spanish Twitch streamer who hosted La Velada del Ano. Boy, my Spanish is really struggling. A live stream boxing tournament that broke Twitch viewership records with 5.9 million viewers, blending both traditional sports and digital entertainment. And then lastly, we have Felicia Day, which is geek royalty, really. An actress, writer, and creator. Felicia Day's platform, Geek and Sundry, relaunched in 2024 with new content, continuing to engage and inspire an entire geek community. I'm going to start off with Sam Reich. I think to me is the Geek of the Year a lot because he's kind of redefining what it means to run a company, and also how to use the environment we have today. So first off, a lot of you guys probably got familiar with Game Changer through TikTok, through shorts or reels. Those are always a big hit. The shorts and stuff like that from Game Changer or any of their shows. They have many shows on their streaming service. He launched a streaming service, Dropout streaming service, its own thing, and $6 a month. And with it is a whole plethora of shows where they share in profit sharing with the people who are on the show. So it's not just about a CEO hoarding money. No, he's sharing with the actors, with the comedians that are on these shows, which is redefining how that should be done for entertainment. That's not something you see in entertainment. But if Disney shared the success of Avengers with all the Avengers, that would be amazing. We'd be celebrating that. Sam Reich is setting forward with that. And the way he's able to blend social media and traditional entertainment, I think it's just amazing. So my vote is definitely Sam Reich. Let's go with you next, Aaron. What is your Geek of the Year?
Oh, I think for me, it's definitely going to be James Gunn. I can't pass him up. He's making some very considered and measured choices in DC Studios, and I don't really want to liken it to this, but it's the only thing I can think of right now. But it's like coming into a job where your previous boss has done a really crappy job of it, and you just have to build everything back up from where it has to be. He had a big job to do, and it's easy to go in there and just do fan service, and make that money quick. But I feel like he's really taking the creative vision to that next level. He's making sure he is sort of heading in a direction that's both creative and also engaging, and then. Not only that, but the storytelling and the way that he's sort of mapping out the future of DC looks like it's going to be something that's sustainable, which is definitely what that franchise needs, because DC has a completely, I'll say untapped, although the CW universe kind of did a little bit of it, but untapped plethora of characters that he can definitely dive into in the unique James Gunn sort of way that he does. And yeah, I just think he's redefining that superhero space in his new role as co-CEO of DC Studios. So he's my Geek of the Year vote, James Gunn.
Well said. Jonathan, what about you?
I'm going to go right with you, Aaron, too, on James Gunn. I like that he is, coming with the new flavors, new changes that he's planning on doing. And like you're saying, between Marvel and DC, DC's probably around half of the characters of the, bigger comic book characters that we enjoyed growing up. And for the most part, they've been untouched. So there's so much to be used, so much to be seen and explored, that if we don't have somebody steering the ship, that we're not going to be able to enjoy that content. And the fact that he's providing that competition with Marvel that, DC has been slipping, trying to compete with them. for viewership for the bigger audience. So by having that new leader to pioneer this new rebranding of DC, hopefully that will how do you say it, like encourage or stimulate the challenge battle between the two competition in the industry, so that we as fans get to benefit and enjoy the results of that competition. So I think we have a lot of good to see coming from DC in the future.
Yeah, not only that as well, but I really respect James Gunn's risk taking, because when he did take over the company, obviously Shazam had just come out. The Rock was behind DC, and he's like one of the biggest social media people on the planet. And he straight away came in and said, "Yeah, your movie's not part of it." And like that was a risky move for The Rock. Yeah. And The Rock did all this sort of background work to reintroduce Henry Cavill as Superman. And then the next thing that he did was obviously recast Superman, and everybody was sort of shaky on that as well. But the reception of it has sort of started to pay off. You just kind of have to lay your trust in this guy that obviously has this vision, this creative sort of flair for movies like this. And it could have very easily gone the other way. And a lot of those decisions, if you're thinking about it, if you were the person that had to make those decisions, knowing how loved Henry Cavill was as Superman, like that is a risk. That is definitely, and for me, that is Geek of the Year worthy alone. Just because if that failed, if this Superman trailer failed and David Cornsweet fails as Superman, everybody's going to be looking back at the time that he let go of Henry Cavill, because he was he was a good Superman, and everybody did love him. He's got a great fan base, and he's gone and done that. But so he didn't do this without risk. He's definitely got that clear vision, and the casting choices that he's made throughout, just as the announcements drop, the casting choices that come through is just comic accurate. He's got a vision. He's doing it.
Well said. That makes James Gunn our Geek of the Year, guys. 2-1 on that one. I'll throw in as well the fact that he's leading with, again, hope and inspiration, and making superheroes this aspirational goal, not what we've already had in the past, basically. Something that we can all strive to be Superman. So I'll say that as well. And that kind of developing a story that we're all following along as being filmed, that's unique and fun. There we go. James Gunn is our Geek of the Year. Heading over to Discord just to get their voices in real quick. Geek of the Year for Scott was Henry Cavill, who I think seeing him, lose the Witcher role because he stood by his principle, saying that Witcher wouldn't do that. That hey, this is what Witcher would do in the books and the games, and the showrunners are saying like, no, this is what we want our character to do. He's like, I'm out. You guys are not following the actual source material, so he left, and now he's in charge of Warhammer 40K and all that universe. So shout out to him. And then Kyle said James Gunn, and that's. We all know why it's that good. So James Gunn is our Geek of the Year. Expect a plaque from us, Mr. Gunn.
I do want to have a special shout out too, because some of these projects don't happen just in one year. A couple movies get released in the year, but there's a lot going on in the background for it takes 5 years or so for a lot of stuff. So Dave Filoni has been doing awesome with Star Wars. I wanted to pick him, but I was like, well, Skeleton Crew is really the only great thing that I've seen recently.
And that's not his.
Oh, really? Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind then. That was a waste.
So forget Dave Filoni.
Yeah, forget that guy. No.
Next year when he releases Ahsoka Season 2.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's the thing is it takes so long for all these different projects they're working on to come out that, we don't always get to see the fruit when the tree's still growing.
That's why I didn't vote for James Gunn, because I was like, I'll wait till next year to vote for James Gunn to see how Superman does do. Yeah, but you're right. The build up to it is part of the excitement that we're all sharing.
True.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the Acolyte hasn't shown up on any of these lists, Frank.
Yeah, we don't do a worst of the year. So.
Fair enough. Yeah. Good stuff. We celebrate success here at the Geek Freaks.
Yeah, we tried to. All right, so to close things out, let's head on over to the network news. For Challenge Accepted, we also did a best of 2024. We did, shows, movies, and then the best challenges for 2024, which is a lot of fun discussing that out. Lore Master is going to be covering Winter Veil, which is essentially the Christmas season on Azeroth. There's a lot of lore behind that as well. And then over at Fandom Portals with our friend Aaron here, he's got a new host coming in, and we mentioned this last week. I want to mention it again this week. If you guys have any topics you want Aaron to discuss on Fandom Portals, get them out there. Let's figure out what we're going to be talking about. Let's discuss it out. I think that's part of the fun, right, Aaron? Is being able to share other people's fandoms.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right. We love getting community voice in on the Fandom Portals podcast. It's definitely part of the show, and we love talking about how fandoms can help you like learn and grow. It's something that I love, and geeking out over what everybody loves and talking about. That's what we do at the podcast. So we're recording new episodes, and we're going to be releasing them very, very soon. So
That's exciting.
Tune in.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope you have a great holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year.